Look at this. A massive, bone-in tomahawk ribeye with a rich, caramelized crust and edge-to-edge pink doneness. You are looking at about $70 for a 2-inch thick cut of beef. If you just throw a piece of meat this large directly onto a hot grill, you guarantee a burned exterior and a cold, raw middle. To cook this correctly, you need to combine the reverse-sear method with precise digital temperature tracking. By applying a strict thermal approach, we remove all the guesswork. You protect your investment and get a flawless cook every single time. Step 1 happens hours before you light the grill. Apply a heavy coat of coarse kosher salt and rest the steak on a wire rack in the fridge for 2 to 4 hours. This process is a dry brine. The salt draws moisture to the surface, where it dissolves into a slurry. Over a few hours, the meat pulls that salty liquid deep back down into the muscle tissue. Next, rub the meat with olive oil to act as a binder. Then apply a heavy layer of coarse black pepper and minced garlic. Before it hits the heat, wrap the exposed bone tightly in aluminum foil to protect it from turning into a charred, blackened stick. You have now taken a raw piece of beef and prepared a deeply seasoned, protected canvas that is structurally ready to handle the cooking process. Set up your grill for a 2-zone fire. You want an ambient temperature on the cool side, sitting between 225 and 250 degrees Fahrenheit. Place the steak on the indirect, cool side of the grill. Insert a leave-in thermometer probe, dead center into the thickest part of the meat, making sure you stay away from the bone. Cooking slowly over indirect heat gives the intramuscular fat time to render, and it heats the meat evenly from top to bottom. This chart from a Texas A&M meat science study maps sensory attributes of thick steaks against grill temperature. Notice the lower left quadrant. Cooked at a high heat of 232 degrees Celsius, data clusters around negative flavor traits like bitter, metallic, and burnt. To avoid those off flavors, close the lid. Your only job right now is to wait until your thermometer reads an internal temperature of exactly 110 degrees. Your patience here establishes a perfectly even internal doneness, mathematically bypassing the bitter, burnt flavors that ruin thick cuts cooked too fast. Once the internal temp hits 110, take the probe out of the meat. Open your grill vents to let the oxygen flow and push those coals up past 400 degrees. Move the steak directly over the flames. You are going for a fast, volatile sear, about 1.5 to 2 minutes per side. While it sears, you can baste the top with a garlic herb butter to build an extra layer of savory flavor. Keep checking the meat frequently with an instant read thermometer. The window for error here is incredibly small. The strict rule is this: the second the internal temperature hits 125 degrees, pull the steak completely off the heat. This short blast of intense fire builds the caramelized crust, and pulling it at exactly 125 rescues the meat just before it overcooks. Take the steak inside, tent it loosely with aluminum foil, and leave it alone on a cutting board for 10 minutes. This is carryover cooking. Even off the grill, the residual heat inside the steak will cause the internal temperature to rise another 5 degrees, settling exactly at our target of 130 degrees for medium rare. To carve it, take your knife and slice straight down the bone to detach the main cut. Then slice across the grain into thick, uniform strips. Resting the meat allows the rendered juices to stabilize inside the muscle fibers, maximizing the tenderness and delivering the presentation you paid for. Look closely at the edges of these slices. You'll notice there is absolutely no gray band beneath the crust, just an edge-to-edge pink center. Pairing the reverse-sear method with strict digital thermometry takes backyard grilling out of the realm of guesswork and turns it into predictable science. You now have the exact thermal roadmap required to cook the most intimidating cut of beef at the butcher counter. Try this method out. Let us know how it goes in the comments, and subscribe.